Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to discuss movies and horror. And today I'm here to talk about a movie that I just watched and loved, and that is The Passenger.
It's coffee time!
This is a movie that was released directly to VOD, so I know it might not be on everybody's radar, and I thought it was my duty to report and to let you guys know of this movie's existence. It is by the same director that did Swallowed, that I also watched this year and absolutely loved, so I would like to bring his movies a little bit more of awareness. And today we're going to be discussing the movie, as always, spoiler-free. This is an American horror thriller directed by Carter Smith, and he is the director of other movies that you might be familiar with, like The Ruins and Swallowed. As I've mentioned, I have absolutely loved Swallowed. It has been one of my favorite movies that I have seen this year, and I was really excited to see a new release by him called The Passenger. And I also really was interested in the cast of the movie. Kyle Gallner is in the movie and I absolutely love him. I think he's such an underrated actor and I think he deserves the world. He deserves so many movies and awards. Honestly, he is fantastic, and he is fantastic as well in this film. So I was really intrigued about the movie. I'm here today to talk to you about it. It is quite a straightforward film and I don't want to spoil too much about it, so it's gonna be a short and sweet review. Let's dig in. Randy is perfectly content fading into the background, but when his co-worker Benson goes on a sudden and violent rampage, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake, Randy is forced to face his fears and confront his troubled past to survive. It's quite interesting because, similar to Swallowed, we have two guys that are a bit different from each other. In this case, very different, and they are both in a car in some sort of trip that was a little bit unexpected. So I thought that was really interesting to see. The two main characters are opposites. These are characters that have went through some trauma in their childhood, but they have reacted and evolved and matured in a very different way. So it was really interesting to see how different people can become even if both same characters have had a traumatic past. And usually when you have two characters in a road trip, at least one of them you're kind of rooting for. And I feel like in this movie they were both so dark and haunting characters that you could not really redeem them much. So it was really interesting to see that aspect of it as well. One of our characters is Randy. He is very submissive. He basically takes all the bullying at work, and he's somebody that would rather, take the bullying than speaking up for it. And the other is a silent co-worker of Randy's. It's called Benson, and he's very quiet for the first 10 minutes of the movie, and then it's when he comes into the film and all hell breaks loose. And he's a character that is tired of being submissive, is tired of accepting all of this shit from everybody. And as the synopsis of the film informed us, Benson is gonna go on a killing spree, and it's taking basically Randy with him on his trip, on this violence trip, and it is quite interesting. It's kind of awkward and uncomfortable at times when you see them together because Randy doesn't really know how to react, and Benson is so comfortable with everything and with the situation. Like, these polar opposite characters worked so well together, and pairing such different characters really helped as well with the tension in the movie. The cinematographer Lynn Moncrief has fantastic compositions and he really uses negative space really well. And I loved the cryptic color palette that you can see growing and changing throughout the film. At the beginning of the movie, we are in a grimy fast food restaurant, and you have all of these unappetizing colors like yellow, orange, brown. It seems like the place was built in the 70s and it was never updated. And then the color changes later on drastically, and they also use color and some scenes to kind of bring almost fluffiness to the movie. This movie is really hard, it's really brutal, but then we have a fluffy jumper that one of our characters wears, or there is a scene where they get some plush toys, and it's such interesting and weird combination of things. It's this kind of juxtaposition of things that don't belong together, but at the same time it works so well, also especially with the colors. The Passenger also sometimes tries to cut the tension with a bit of humor, and honestly it's this kind of awkward humor but that works, and I thought it was a nice like brief release of the tension, because the whole movie you're kind of in this state of thrill. Gellner is fantastic in this film. I think both main characters did an amazing job, but Kyle Gallner, he is absolutely fantastic. As I've said, he's one of my favorite like underrated like actors for sure. He did another movie called, I think, American Diner, that I thought he was fantastic in as well. He's had so many good roles, and I'm hoping that he's gonna get like bigger and bigger roles in the future, because he deserves so much more. He deserves an Oscar at this point. So he understood this character so well. He has this natural gift to portray characters that are not natural at all, characters that are quite unstable, and this kind of force that you don't know what's gonna do next. He does those things with such ease. So the character felt really authentic, and there's also a lot of chemistry between our main characters. So the acting was superb in this film. The Passenger is kind of like a much dark drama about two broken people, both of whom have repressed way too much their emotions but have been pushed in opposite directions by it. It's brutal both physically and emotionally, and becomes increasingly more suspenseful as it builds up to a seemingly inevitable climax. It touches on topics like capitalist workforce that is basically making people feel submissive and just obey. If you remember John Carpenter's movie They Live, and it's interesting how that also can come from your childhood and from your parents that are kind of setting you up for being a submissive and obedient person. So there are many like under layers here of commentaries, like social commentaries, and there's not much more I can tell you about the movie because I don't want to spoil it, but the horror of the movie doesn't come from, as you can expect, nothing supernatural, nothing creature, nothing evil like that. The horror comes from the brutality of the film, the violence of the film. So there's gonna be some horrific scenes and some kills, because obviously our main character is going through a killing spree. So you can expect that, like more similar to The Wrath of Becky a little bit. So yeah, I really enjoyed the brutality of the film. I ended up giving this movie a 3.5 out of 5, and even though there is almost like no redemption or true justification for the acts, this movie was really impactful and it really packed a punch. Not as much as Swallowed. I feel like Swallowed is a movie I'm not gonna forget like ever. But this one is a really good movie, and I really enjoy the direction that this director is going, and I cannot wait to see what he's gonna do next. This is a low budget movie that I know might go under the radar for a lot of people, so I wanted to talk about it to you guys, and please go and give it a shot. Please support this type of films because they need our support. I hope that you guys enjoyed my spoiler-free review. Let me know down below if you've seen it, what you thought of it. Thank you guys as always so much for watching, and I hope to see you all as always in our next coffee time. Bye.